Comic Book Savant, episode 406. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. This episode, we're going to be doing the year-end review for 2018 and talk about some of the things that I want to accomplish going into the year of 2019 for the podcast and the Comic Book Savant brand as a whole. But before we get into that, as always, I'd like to give a shout out to my friends over at the Comics Podcast Network. You can find them over at comicspodcast.com. If you like this podcast and you want to find others that are comic book related that would pique your interest on similar topics of comics, there are literally hundreds of different shows listed there that deal with publisher specific, character specific, team, just any genre within comics that you want to find. You probably can find a podcast on it over at the Comics Podcast Network. I've been affiliated with them since the very beginning. For over a decade now. So it's a great resource for if you're looking for more content to listen to consume, especially as the holidays. A lot of people are doing a lot of traveling, driving, things like that. You can find some good quality content based on comics through the Comics Podcast Network. So if you have a moment, definitely check them out over at comicspodcast.com. Last but not least, as always, I'd like to give a shout out to the sponsor for this episode, which is InStockTrades.com, one of the best places you can go online. Excuse me, when you're looking for collected editions, oversized issue releases, manga, absolute editions, Marvel Masterworks, omnibuses, you name it. If it's a bound edition, InStock Trades probably has it. They have some of the biggest discounts you can find online, starting around 35 to 42, up to 50% off with their deals of the week. If you're a U.S.-based customer, if you place an order $50 or more, you get free shipping, which always comes in handy, especially around this time of year. As well as if you're an international listener, you don't get that little extra benefit of the free shipping, but they do have some of the most competitive international shipping rates around, so you can still save a ton of money and by using the site. So don't let that discourage you if you're outside of the U.S. and you're listening to this and you want to order from InStockTrades.com. But with all that being said, I appreciate them for supporting the show, and let's get into this week's episode. I've been doing these year-end review episodes now for a while. I always felt like it was a good to look at all the things that I've done as a creator over the past years. Talk to you guys about, the things that I've done, things that I want to correct, things that I've seen that you guys like, trends that I've seen, and what goals that I have set for myself and the brand moving forward into the next year. I don't know, 2018 was an interesting year. I had a lot of ups and downs, mainly with my health, as you guys have known. I've been, been very transparent about it. That has, sometimes I felt like it kind of stifled momentum that I've had with the channel and the podcast, and I've had to adjust and shuffle. I think I didn't totally let it deter me. So I felt like I did a better job overall throughout this year, providing you guys with quality content, regardless of what personally, physically, or whatever that I might have had going on. That I stayed on top of it. I think I felt like I've done this better than I probably ever have in previous years. But I think after doing this for so long, becoming more aware of when these situations come up and making sure I have things in the can ready to go for you guys. Scheduling and time management is essential when you're doing something like any type of content creation, and now opening it up, doing it on more than one platform. Going this time last year, I was really, dipping my toe in the YouTube thing, didn't know much about it. So this past year has been a ton of learning, maintaining a podcast, the Patreon picking up a little bit of steam, and doing specialized content for that, and building a better Patreon program to give you guys something of value for wanting to support and helping support the show. That, you know, I had a program built there that you got things of value no matter where you went or to what level you could help the show, even if you could monetarily or not, that it was things that you felt like you were getting some value. You know, I think along the way, you know, I was just a comic fan sitting down when I first started this because I just like talking about comics. I think over the time, over all the years, it has evolved. And, you know, the great thing about it now, I'm finding even a second, third, or fourth life in the whole podcasting space when it comes to comics, that I want to be a mentor, a resource, a teacher of sorts for so many people that have either, and I've gotten more and more emails, and I appreciate all the stuff, all the emails I get from you guys, the DMs, like it means a ton when you guys let me know, like, hey, I've been away from comics for so many years, and you know, this is a great resource for me. It helped me form my lane of, you know, how I need to focus the content and what I really want to be. I don't want this to be exclusionary. I want this to be inclusive to everyone. If you're a day one comics fan, or you've been away from comics for 5, 10, 20 years, it doesn't matter. I want this podcast, the YouTube channel, the brand of Comic Book Savant, because I feel like sometimes it can be a stigma with comics that comic people are snobby and they're not accepting to people that are not in the know when it comes to comics. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned through expanding the brand and being on different platforms and people reaching out and it connecting to people, that it's, you know, that's not the way to go. You know, you have to change those stereotypes that are centered around the hobby that we love so much. So I felt like that mission statement became so clear to me over this past year. It was something I didn't think much about till it starts smacking me in my face when I start getting responses from you guys that are, you know, listening and watching, and you taking time out of your day to let me know you appreciate the content. Never underestimate how powerful your voice is as a listener to any type of content. Your voice is, when you reach out to the creators and you give heartfelt responses on how it affects you in any kind of way, it means a ton. So many times I've gotten messages from you guys in the past year where messages totally motivated me to push through when I was going through tough times and different things or another, because then I know that you guys are out there and it's having an impact on you in one way or another. So it pushes me through, okay, I need to do more of that content. You know, and I will always ask, you know, is it something that you might, you know, want me to cover that I haven't covered yet? You know, so that interaction has meant a lot. And like I said, it helped me redefine mission statement one and make you know what the priority is for the channel. And I think more so than anything else, anybody can review comics. Anybody can review movies. I do those things, but I like what I'm doing, like on YouTube with the Comic Book Collector's Guide. That's, you know, I feel like that's a resource, you know, different conversations that we have about the industry at large here on this podcast. Those kind of things that people can lean upon as resources to kind of help them in the hobby. And I want to continue that going into 2019 for sure. Like I said, I feel really good on the whole direction that has kind of formed. Sometimes, you know, the greatest ideas are, you know, come by total accident, you know, whatsoever. So also I normally talk about in these year-end review episodes, I talk about some of the things that I like most in the past year in comics that I've experienced. Again, this is, you know, some people do like end of the year award shows and all that kind of stuff, or episodes. It's a kind of a mix in this year-end review. You know, I talk about certain topics, so I'm going to go over my best ongoing comic series for this past year. And I'm going to say Oblivion Song. Now, me and Heath on Spinner Rack Bros talked about Volume 1 of Oblivion Song, and again, we're not traditional in how we read comics. There's so many comics produced per week, per month. It's hard to keep up with everything as soon as it comes out. So I look at things in the window of what I read and consumed during the year that I could consume and what effect it had on me. And I really dug Oblivion Song Volume 1. I've picked up the following issues after what we covered on the first volume, and I just really have enjoyed the series. It kind of caught me off guard. I was kind of mad about it when it first came out. Then we did the review, the first trade, and it's just really kept my attention as something different and new that I want to read more of. For some reason, it just struck me in a different way. Best new series that I tried this past year that I really enjoyed was from longtime listener Ed Moore, his suggestion of Aftershock comics, and I tried Animosity, and I raved about that particular comic. I still need to get trades 2 and 3. I see them on. I need to grab them on Comixology. I see them. I need to pick them up because I want to continue on with that story. Read that first trade, was blown away by it, and just been backlogged with everything else that I haven't jumped back on it to read more of it. But I definitely next year I want to snatch up trades 2 and 3 soon and read those because I'm missing that. It was just so refreshing and different. Again, it's by Aftershock Comics. It's Animosity. Well, I've reviewed it, so just look in the backlog. You'll hear where I've talked about Animosity. I think I did I can't remember if I did a podcast or it's on the YouTube channel, but I did a review of the first volume of, I want to say it was a YouTube video that I did reviewing volume 1 of Animosity. Great series by Aftershock Comics. Best limited series that I checked out so far is The Magic Order by Image. It's Mike Millar, the Millarverse. I think this is one of the shows when he made the deal with Netflix that's going to be, it's a limited series first, and then it's going to be it's optioned already for a live action show. I'm not big into magic and Harry Potter and all that kind of stuff, but it just sucked me in. Great visuals, great writing. It was a big surprise for me because I'm not in like the occult. I'm not really heavily into that, but just the vibe of it. I picked up the first issue just on a whim. I think it was on sale on Comixology. I picked it up, read it, liked it, and just continued on with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing if or when it's adapted into live action, how it plays out, because like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Best comic book movie for the year for me would have to be Avengers Infinity War. It's probably the top of most people's list. Just so much. It was done so well. Just really hit all notes for me personally. Next, the best comic book related TV show, I think overall, would be the new Titans show on DC Universe. I've talked about it. It didn't start the best out of the gate, and I think Warner Brothers and DC totally marketed the show wrong. But I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And they've done things, and it's kind of funny. It's Greg Berlanti is one of the executive producers of the show, and just because it's on DC Universe, not on like the CW, they've been able to go into some more deep comic book tropes, and they accept it all and have ran with it, and they've done it in a way that they made it work. We've already seen Hawk and Dove. That might be ridiculous. They made them cool. We got the Doom Patrol like within the first 4 episodes. That they were done well, and they have their own spinoff show that's going to be coming out, I think, sometime in 2019. That we haven't seen like those kind of things touched in live action before, and they did it and they made it work, and they don't have the humongous budgets that a movie would have, but they made them work, and they didn't seem so ridiculous at all. It really ended up working, coming off well on screen, surprisingly enough. Best comic book related cartoon overall, I'm going to go with Star Wars Rebels. Loved the show. It had its I think it's season 4, fourth and final season. Great show. If you're a fan of Star Wars and you have not watched Star Wars Rebels, you owe it to yourself to watch those 4 seasons. Great stuff. Best animated film for comic book related content this past year, I have to say, was The Death of Superman. Really enjoyed that. Shout out to Heath for doing his review on Serial at Midnight. That really put it on my radar, and then I ended up picking it up shortly thereafter and loving the movie. And best publisher overall, I have to go with Image again. I think Image is one of the most diverse comic publishers out there right now, and they're putting out just a ton of good books from top to bottom. And so I would have to say they still kind of have the crown right now. Marvel and DC is still the most prolific and get all the headlines, but I think just the diversity and the difference in stories we're getting, that diversity in storytelling, it's not all the hubbub with Marvel and DC. It's all these reboots and reimaginings and multi-issue events, and I think it bogs them both publishers down so much, where Image says, hey, if you got a good concept and you want to put out a good book, come here. And so many big names have gone over the Image and has done great work. So they've really just continued to impress me year in and year out. Best moment overall for me in comics that I had this past year, I would have to say, is like the ending of Star Wars Rebels and kind of the things that were hinted, how it ended, things that were revealed that were very interesting in the larger canon of the Star Wars lore and history that I really enjoyed. So that would be my best moment overall of that I had, as far as comic wise, the past year. Now, I always will do like the top ranked episodes from 2018. It's harder and harder to tell. My podcast host of choice is Libsyn, and I've been using them pretty much the whole time that I've been doing the podcast over all these years. But it's getting harder and harder because the podcast appears on so many different services, and I think the numbering and how the numbers are filtrated in get more and more diluted now because the feed splits so many different places. So it's harder to find what exactly are the exact top episodes. I get base numbers, but I know they're not the complete numbers because the show just is not, on iTunes. It's on Podbean, it's on Stitcher, it's on what else? iHeartRadio. I think I finally got it listed on Spotify. It's, episodes load up on YouTube now. So the numbers are, it's harder and harder to come up with this part. And this might be the last year that I'm doing it. But just roughly some of the episodes that I saw that got the most interest was last year's year in review. Let's see. Last year when I did the 50 greatest comic book movies, or my 50 favorite comic book movies, the first episode of that did extremely well. Of course, the review of Avengers Infinity War did extremely well. So let's see, episode 362 did well. Let me see, which was Comics Talk 2017 year in review. We got what else we got here? 366, which was Comics Talk cutting the stack. Marvel episode 2 part 2 that did well. Episode 368, which was the greatest comic book movies part 1. Trying to do these in order, so if you ever want to go back and listen to these episodes, if you haven't, you can check them out. Next one is 371, which is Countdown, the MCU villains. That did well. Next one would be Creator Spotlight on Kieran Gillian. That did well. Also, we have the review of Avengers Infinity War. That's the next one in order. I'll send them out of order first. Then we have the series spotlight, episode 379, series spotlight on Kingdom Come, where I revisited and reviewed that. That did well. My next one is the next episode after that, which was episode 380, which was my review of Deadpool 2. Then the next one is episode 381, which is Creator Spotlight on Walter Simonson. And last but not least, I think this is number 10. Yeah, number 10 would be the Comic Books Savant Extra episode 12 that I did on the state of comic book podcasting. So those were some of the most, popular ones that I could dissimulate, because it's always an ongoing thing because you still constantly get downloads to stuff. Other things that perform really well that we rolled out this past year is Spinner Rack Bros. We've done, I think with the last one, that was 4 episodes. I've gotten some feedback from you guys. Recently, you guys have really been enjoying that. Me and Heath are not looking to slow down doing Spinner Rack Bros. It's something we're going to continue and expand doing. It probably will be, it will still probably always be 1 episode per month for Spinner Rack Bros. Just because of our schedules with him. His schedule and with me with my schedule, but we're looking to expand. We're going to start doing some video, and you'll see alternating content. You will not just see it'll always be content here. You'll start seeing episodes that will drop on his Serial at Midnight channel, YouTube channel as well. And then we'll probably do stuff down the road where it'll be video content on the Comic Book Savant YouTube channel as well. So it won't just be reserved to the audio podcast. We're going to expand and do a little bit more within the Spinner Rack Bros concept for you guys. So appreciate you guys liking it and letting us know that. And we're going to push forward and do even more with it going forward. With all that being said, that's everything from 2018. So looking into 2019, we got films coming up in 2019, and just as far as some of my most anticipated movies, we know we have Avengers. Now we know is Avengers Endgame. We had the trailer drop finally. We have a new release date. It got moved up a week, so it's going to be coming out April 26th of 2019. Looking forward to that. Seeing that first trailer, this gets me totally hyped for it. I don't need to see anything else. Just give me the movie. We have Captain Marvel coming out March 8th of 2019. Stoked about that. Really interesting to see that movie. Surprisingly enough, I haven't, and I talked about this recently where I haven't been super jazzed or hyped about too much stuff on the DC side. I'm curious and interested in anticipating Shazam more than anything else that DC has announced going on recently. And I like to see that because it looks like it's just going to be fun. And that comes out April 5th, 2019. And then last but not least, as far as my most anticipated list, we have Spider-Man Far From Home. That's dropping July 5th, 2019, which is one of my best friends' actual birthday, which is funny. I know a trailer's supposed to be dropping for that any time now. So maybe right after this episode releases, that trailer would have dropped. We don't know. Well, I guess time will tell. But I really enjoyed Homecoming, so Far From Home, I think, is going to be a blast. So, again, those are movies right now that I'm aware of. There's other things out there that are kind of on my highly anticipated list going in. What I'm looking forward to most in the new year is just more growth and expansion for the Comic Book Savant brand. I've been struggling with a lot of things behind the scenes. I've talked to you guys, about it. I'm trying to find my way trying to be an entrepreneur just because of health issues and stuff like that. I've been restricted to home more. So I'm trying to make this hobby and this passion into a business, but not at the expense of what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish as a content creator. So that's always has been, a line that I've been straddling, just trying to figure out how to the best ways to monetize. And it's more things that I want to do, like within the show, you realize, and one thing for sure this past year has made me realize is how short life is, and you have to enjoy it to the fullest. And it's more stuff I want to do. It's more, trips that I want to take and get out and reconnect with you guys and meet some of you guys in person. It's been so long since I've really done that, and it's like I want to get back to, beating the pavement and hitting conventions and different things like that I really want to do, that I feel really passionate about and I'm upbeat about. So the Patreon is there. Like I said, I've talked about it before. I'm not going to harp on it. If you guys can support, please do. It just helps improve the show. Great, it's great content going on over there. The Comic Book Savant extra podcast, those episodes. That's extra content that you get there. It's different tiers, and I'm not going to go into all of it. If you are curious about it, go to patreon.com/Comic Book Savant. It'll take you to the homepage. It shows you all the different tiers. For as little as $1, I'm pledging $1 a month. You get access to the Comic Book Savant extra podcast feed for that basic of an amount. So it's just $1 less you're spending a month on comics that you're going to this form of entertainment. One thing that I've been struggling with, I've had an ongoing relationship with the sponsor of the podcast for a long time. I really want to shift away from that, because sometimes, as a content creator, yes, it brings some revenue in. Does it bring in enough? No. I'd rather be more dependent, instead of being dependent on that, being dependent on the people that I'm doing the content for, which is you guys, and kind of be able to phase that out and talk more freely without feeling like I have to find a way to put in an ad block in here. But again, with anything, we all know things cost money. So if more people join the Patreon, even at that basic amount, you guys just don't know how much it will push me closer away from not having to continue to do that. And then I feel like I could talk more freely and get more into content, than I want to get to you guys. So I'm pushing towards that. I have the Teespring store. I've put a lot of different avenues out there for you guys to help support if you want. That's going to give you value added. I have the Teespring store that I put up a few months ago. I haven't talked about it enough, and it's my fault because I've been dealing with, the health stuff. I did 2 different versions of T-shirts. I just put up a hoodie design because I know it's winter. If you want to rep your fandom for Comic Book Savant, again, it's 2 T-shirt designs, and now I just put out a hoodie design. So all of that is available on the Teespring store. Just go to comicbooksavant.com. If you go to, where is it at on the website? I'm the worst about that. Again, I'm a content creator, not a salesman, so I suck at the salesman part. If you go to Comic Book Savant, you go to support. At the very bottom of the support page, it's a link. We now have a merchandise store. If you click here, it takes you to the Teespring store, and you'll see the 3 designs. Again, we have the classic throwback Comic Book Savant with the Tiki Mask face throwback T-shirt. It's $22.99. Then we got the current logo with that, and on the throwback design, it's just like the original T-shirt. The logo's on the back of the T-shirt. Comes in multiple colors, and then we have the current logo, which you have that comes in multiple colors as well. Logos on the front, and for the hoodie is $38.99. Is a nice quality thick hoodie, and I did something different on this one. I have the similar logo. So on the front, it's the logo with the Comic Book Savant established, date that I did for the other T-shirt. But then on the back of it, I have just the if I can talk, clear logo on the back. So it's like a logo on the front and the back. Try to jazz it up a little bit. I think it looks nice, and that comes in multiple colors as well. Again, it's through Teespring, so definitely something. If you got a few extra dollars and you want to show some love, you can order some of that merch. And I'm going to work more going forward, doing some more designs And, even if you guys can't support financially, if you guys are artists, I'm always looking for, I'm going to be looking for more T-shirt designs to see if it's something you guys want to go that route and help supporting the podcast. Again, it's different levels to it. And again, it takes a community. Like I said, I want to get out more. I want to hit a few conventions. There's a lot of things that I want to do going into next year. I'm making plans to try to get to at least one convention right now, potentially two. I got some other traveling with family that I got to do, like going into the summer that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to try to hit up some different comic shops and do some different stuff there, and maybe do try to do some meetups and stuff like that when I'm doing the traveling. So I'm trying to change it up. So. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community to run a great podcast. And I think you guys have been just so phenomenal in everything that you have done in support of me and all the different things that I've been trying, and the growth of the YouTube channel as well. I didn't expect necessarily much because I'm still learning. So I was going into it similar to when I started the podcast years ago, that, it was just like, I'm just going to have fun talking about the stuff I love, and I'll let whatever, whatever comes out in the wash on the tail end will come out. I try not to focus on it so much, but the growth has been consistent. It hasn't, I haven't gone viral with the YouTube channel. I mean, let's be honest, the podcast never went viral. It has consistent growth over time, and people that like it and have found it and liked it, they've stayed with it over the years. Or if they didn't, if they came back to comics, they came back to the podcast, and they've been consistent, and supporting it. So, but the growth has been amazing to me. Like I said, I think a year ago this time, I had a handful of subscribers. Now we're almost 265, 175 or so, or 165, 170. So it's crazy. It's been consistent growth, people finding the content, subscribing, enjoying it. The community is giving a lot of feedback there as well. And like I said, you never can underestimate your voice and how much it means to a creator, and how much it can motivate and shape the content that they present to you. So if you feel a certain way, good or bad, reach out to that creator and let them know what they're doing that is really working for you, and what you might like to see more of. They might, want to know that and want to give you exactly what you're looking for. So always feel free to give constructive criticism and feedback to a content creator. If you're following them and you like what they do, let them know that. Don't stand pat. Let your voice be heard. It means so much. That's all I really have for you guys. Again, it was just a quick year-end review of the podcast. What I'm trying to do, what are some of my goals going for the future, and I just want to expand. I want to expand the podcast. I want to do more merchandise. I want to grow this out. Like I said, this is really, I really have put more energy in it, and the more energy I put in, the more energy and response I'm getting back from you guys. So it lets me know, I'm on the right track. I think for so long I worried about if I did more, would I receive more in return? Would you guys be receptive to it, or would you guys kind of be like, oh, this is way more of this guy that we want to put up with? And you guys have shown me, just without a doubt that you want more content. So I'm trying to give you guys more content, and I'm having a ball doing it, and I want to do even more and do even more different things. So with your help, I should be able to do that. But with all of that being said, I'm your host, James Harris. This is the Comic Book Savant podcast. You guys have a good week, and I will see you back next time for another episode. You guys take care and have a good weekend. Bye.